So I also had I had to fill out a PCI compliance yesterday, which is huge, and I might have put something in there wrong, but it denied me, so I'm gonna have to go back through it.
If you guys ever need it, we can provide you with our PCI compliant certificate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it helps the other merchant go, oh, okay, now I see what you're using.
But it confused me because I thought it was talking about what I do on my computer, but not through Atlas. Does that make sense?
A lot of the questions to the vendor, to the merchant, you're like yourself. Yeah, those are directed at you because they want to know what your habits are. Like, are you keeping credit card information on file? You know, all that
And
stuff
most
like
of it
that.
was like, you know, my encryption and stuff like that to the gateways, you know, something like that. So make sure they don't.
The other thing that you can do too is you can go to this invoice, you know, like the closeout report, and I just selected weekly. And if I get the report for weekly and scroll down to the bottom, it shows me there are 6 Visa payments. And so that's another way to kind of get to those payments. It's the exact same report that Brandon took us to. So you can get that off of this daily closeout, or you can enhance the daily closeout. Actually, this little daily closeout, we have a truncated version of that that only allows a user to search one day at a time. And that way they can just close their day out, but it restricts them from like being able to look at, oh, what did we sell for the week, or what did we sell for the month, or the year, or whatever. Because you can, this report to me is really valuable sometimes just to look at what a client's, you know, sales history is without going to like the income statement or something like that. You can look on here. And the reason why is because of these groups, you know, which we kind of touched on the group a little bit yesterday, where you can click on the group and it's going to sum up, well, this is how many quantity of discounts and labor, and, you know, you can start looking at some different expanded views. And then additionally at the bottom under these payments is unpaid invoices. So it shows during that time frame what the receivables are for that as well. So kind of the same thing as going to the receivables homepage, which is more or less what this report is showing you, kind of in a nutshell. The next little section that we're going to be covering, so we kind of reviewed setting up. Yes, Ian.
So are we going to have a chance for us to kind of play with that credit card part? Okay.
Yeah, what would you guys like to do?
I just would like to get hands-on and actually
Sure.
try it myself, but are we set up because what you did yesterday?
I set it up right here. Like if you want to see a physical card run through, I can run my physical card. This is through a sandbox, okay? So it's not going to even hurt my physical card, but like we could actually get a real card and run it through for, I can buy something for $200 or whatever.
I think what I'm kind of getting at more is for demo purposes. When I want to demo this to somebody, I want to feel confident that I can go in there and show.
That was the white space, right?
Yeah, let's do one more of those, Dan, just real quick. So I'm gonna create another invoice. So I'm gonna show you another way to create an invoice. So let's come back in here. I see, Danny, that you actually had just done invoice number 26. I'm gonna go to the edit of that invoice. We got a nice little button up here that says duplicate to cart. So I just threw this back into the shopping cart again. Notice it's got me in here, or Brandon in here now as a rep consultant. And I'm going to go to checkout. And then on this page, all you got to do to show a client is
Can we
click.
do this with you? Or is
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, go to the invoice homepage and just duplicate an invoice if you wish. And
You can go either edit or printable. There's options from either of those to duplicate an invoice.
I think it's really good that when you do talk with clients about creating invoices, make sure that they understand that you can duplicate. And one of the quickest ways is if you're selling to a client, especially if it's like a wholesale company, you know, their clients basically place the same order over and over and over again. All you've got to do is go to the log page for that client. At the top of that, there's a link that says all invoices year to date. You can just click on that and it shows you all the last invoices, and then you can go to one of those.
Basically
And
filters
duplicate.
it for you according to that client.
Duplicate it and then change up whatever the order is. You know, if you have wholesale companies that have different price points per client, it's the best way to keep your price points separated, because the client, whatever price that last invoice is at, that's their price point that they're at. So you're duplicating, you know, the same thing, and it's one click and you're back into the shopping cart. So if you guys are now on the payment page,
I'm trying to catch up. But go ahead.
no, we'll wait up on you there, Dan. Once you have an invoice ready and you go to checkout, we'll.
Can I mention something as well? If you're on this checkout page, if you read the help file for this page, it'll tell you about some other options as well of ways to interact with the credit card information. Okay.
From the help file.
The help file for this particular page will actually kind of talk about, hey, here's some different ways that you can actually do it.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm there. So you.
So you on the checkout page?
Yeah, I'm gonna check out.
Okay, so we're going to click go to payment page.
And you'll notice that that logo is different than what it would be if you don't have merchant processing assigned. If you don't have merchant processing, it's a little bit longer. It's kind of like shopping cart plus Adilas logo equals master Visa card. Hey, check this for more info. And it would actually take you to a virtual flyer page.
Yeah, because every time I click on that, that's what it takes me.
Okay.
Once you're on this payment page, I noticed something right off the bat. Do you see how the little button is defaulted here to make a manual entry? That's a corp-wide setting that you want it to be on the swiper.
If you're swiping.
If they're
I
swiping.
did that, and I got stuck with filling in all these fields and names.
Right.
And,
Yeah, that's part of the setup.
Okay.
So we're gonna, even though we're not swiping, what do we want on there to?
You're going to trick the system, and Steve's going to show you how to trick the system. We're going to grab a fictitious card number that we store in this page so that you can demo it.
So what you would do on this page is just click the payment method up here to use the card reader. Okay? And then what you do is just right-click with your mouse, and it brings open your little menu. And then if you click on View Source, and it's under number 2 at the top. And you see where it has the little percentage sign? You want to grab everything from that percentage sign all the way over to the question mark.
I'm not finding the percentage sign. Two.
And you're looking at View Source.
Oh.
So this
View page
stuff
source.
Yeah, View Page Source.
Yep, each browser might have a slightly different terminology for it, but it's basically it says, show me the underlying code that creates that page.
How far? Yeah, it's way up there at the top.
Yeah, it's on
top.
on
If you're on
line
the
3.
payment page, otherwise you might not be on the correct page yet. Click close for just a second. Okay, go ahead and right click again. And go to view source. Okay, it's right here at the top. It's in this little, it's in a comment.
Oh, I see it. Okay, yeah, okay. You grab it, but just the
From the percentage sign that precedes the capital B,
Yeah.
all the way to that question mark at the end.
There's actually 3 different ones in there. It's like, here's what's called track 1 and track 2. Here's just track 1, and here's just a general number, so you don't have to enter in the 16-digit number.
Basically what that line of code is, or what that piece right there is what's encoded into this mag strip on these cards. And that's all that happens when you swipe through here is it strips that piece off. So what we're doing is we're just going to go Control-C once you copy that, or right-click and copy. Then you can just close your window, and then click in this top one here where it says to swipe the card, place the cursor here, because we're going to emulate exactly what this does by just going Control-V, and you'll see it puts that whole string in there, and then it ends at there. Now, so that's exactly what happens when you swipe. Now, the reason that we leave this open to where you have to hit the tab to populate, so that will be your next step, is hit tab, and it's going to populate, which fills in the card number, the name, and the address, and you'll notice that the cursor ends up in the CCV field, which that's the security code. The reason that we purposely leave this like this is that most merchant processors, if you're swiping, Joe brought this up, to get the best deal you can from a merchant processor, swipe the card and put the security number off the back of the card in that field. The reason that that is going to lower their rate is because they know that you have the card in hand.
Card present.
Card present. That's just another step for them. So you don't have to do that, and then you just submit. But that's the reason why we have that. Hit the tab, do this. Once you submit, it'll approve it, and you'll be back on your invoice with your approval number on there.
Where's the approval? Where do you point to the approval? Oh, I see it.
Payments made.
Got it.
So on the same subject, on the view source page,
Yes.
down at line 10, here's another example that could be used for testing. This should be entered in the manual mode, not like you go through it. But if you do something in the manual mode, then you have to fill in other fields.
Yep, it'll ask
Right.
you for more and more and
You can
more.
just make up,
You could, if you wanted to, you could literally just go up and copy and paste that the 16-digit number.
Yeah.
And then you put in John Smith, and it's expiration date of 11,
it doesn't
of
matter.
14.
If you're providing that as a demo, I'm saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
use that number. Okay.
So Adilas, we don't swipe people's cards because guess what? All of our clients are spread all over. But we have tons and tons of retail establishments. They've got stations all over the place. Zoop, zoop, and they're swiping cards. And so like we play in lots of different ways. And it's not required at all. Like if you don't want to do that, like you saw on that one report, if you swipe through Adilas, we provide another link and options to void it, and we'll start tying things together for you. But if you want to play outside, we'll say, fine. Like, it's kind of interesting because that's unique to Adilas because lots of times if you get a POS system, they're like, you have to have our hardware, our software, our merchant processing, our this. It's because there's so many things going on. They're trying to control all the variables. We're like, this is an e-business buffet. Have fun. Like, it's kind of a little different flavor on it. So.
The other thing I want to kind of close with, too, and then Brandon can get on to CRM and customers and more of the what we're going to review today or what he's going to go over today, is at the top of the invoice you have 5 main buttons, and then over on the right you have this More Options button. And that's where if you wanted to see like the mini version or whatever, you can click on on that section there. You can also upload photos. So a lot of clients, when they're taking a check on an invoice, we usually suggest that you just scan the check and scan it right into that invoice. And then because the payment for that invoice is going to be associated with the deposit, and then at any time the deposit takes you, there's a drill down link on the deposit, take you right back to the invoice so you can check on the, you have a copy of the check number. And that's good for NSF checks and things like that, good record keeping.
You do a cell phone photo?
Yes.
Is that considered a scan? Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought a digital camera. Like we have scanners, we have cameras. If you want to play, we can play to whatever level you guys want to play. Okay. Like literally, I think it'd be kind of fun today, even to kind of dip into that a little bit. Sure.
But I'll kind of leave you with that, Brandon, and let you and Dan go on to the CRM, whatever you guys have planned.
Any questions? That was just kind of a light introduction, like kind of a okay. Let's remember a little bit about what we were doing yesterday.
I just have one, and it's a very basic question. When we were messing around in the cart, and I went to close last night, it said my cart was open.
Okay.
And it took me a while to figure out how to get out of it.
Okay, great. And what it does is it's trying to remember, like remind you basically, because it's virtual memory. If you're doing all this kind of stuff and you have an open cart, I don't have anything. See up by my date right here in the top right-hand corner? I don't have any sort of new invoice. Watch this. As soon as I say start a new cart, and I actually get into the view cart page, watch what happens right up here. Okay? See this little cart? Well, this little cart, because it's held in virtual memory, it allows me to go anywhere I want. It's just holding it. So what happened for you is say you were here, and then you actually clicked on another page, and like you're deeper, and eventually you're like, I want to log out. And you probably got this error message. Okay? And what it's basically saying is, hey, just so you know, something was still going on. Do you want to save it, clean it up, view it, or clear it? It's basically what you're asking. And if you're not sure, the best thing to do is say view it. Okay? Like, oh, I can't even remember what I had. Oh, there's 0 line items. I have 0 person assigned. I guess I just started something. No problem. Let's find the thing that says clear cart or clear cart or whatever. Okay? As soon as you hit clear cart, watch this little icon. It'll totally disappear. Click cart. And now it's basically, if I were to say log out, it physically would log me all the way out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I love the questions. Bring it on. Good stuff.